For me personally, growing up with these different kind of games and then getting into esports, I didn't ever expect a Dragon Ball game to be taken seriously, right? Of course, there's definitely like maybe the small communities that definitely did take it to that extent, but I didn't think it would hit mainstream uh, media. So when so when Smash came out, right, and I found out about like the fighting game community and then esports and everything, I I then saw the release of Dragon Ball Fighters come around YouTube, and for me personally, like especially playing the game, I my uncle got the game for me and my dad and like my family when competitive wasn't even a thing yet. So when I first got into it, it wasn't all that interesting to me at first, and it was because when it came to playing at like a casual level, I just didn't really enjoy it because I was just like, there's nothing interesting for me right now that like I see to really develop in the game, and it was because like at the time the roster was small. There wasn't DLC at all. Um, I missed that like there wasn't any opportunity to like do anything crazy, right? Like turn into different forms or anything like that. And then I saw that Golden Frieza was a thing, and then at first I was just like, from a casual, standpoint, I'm just like, why don't they do the same with all these other characters? But then all of a sudden the DLC came out, and then you tell me a little bit about competitive, and I learned a lot from you, and that's why I'm also here in the fighters community, and that's when like it sparked an interest. That's when I was pushed to an extent to when I was pushed to an extent to get better and to understand the game a little more, and I was considering going competitive for it, but then of course I was just too invested into Smash, and here I am now stuck between two communities for like personal reasons. But I don't regret going into the community. I did. I didn't expect to see the light of day where I would see a person popping off on the stage because they won a Dragon Ball game, and to see that was just like just insane and inspiring to me for Dragon Ball Fighters. It hit a lot of It hit a lot of nostalgia when I saw like people being happy, because for me, what was happiness for me was seeing that there's like a variety of characters in Budokai, but now there's like a variety of characters in fighters. Maybe not too big of a roster, but then just big enough for there to be like so much variety, so much unique styles put into like these different characters, and for like the most part, most of the cast being balanced instead of like uh, you know instead of just focusing on like making a few characters strong and then all these other characters weak and everything like that. But get I mean past to that getting past to that point, um, when we were talking about development earlier, right? So, um, seeing as this is like the last update, like Gogeta Super Saiyan 4 and the patch notes are like possibly the last update for fighters. It's been a few years since like fighters first came out. What, like maybe close to 4 years. It's been close to 4 years. I
Hmm.
I want, for me personally, what I would like is if they started developing on a like Dragon Ball Fighters 2, but fixing the mistakes, like even the little mistakes that they had in this game, and then like making them better. We talked about Maximilian. We talked about Maximilian, dude. I told you to watch the video before getting on here to get like an understanding of what is it? What is it? What I was coming off from, like starting this podcast type thing, and he said that like his idea is that they should follow with Smash, where like they bring a huge roster with like a Marvel style kind of fighting. And for me personally, I think that would be totally insane, but but also would do well. I think if they had like a cast almost as big or even bigger than like the Marvel 2, right? with Dragon Ball characters, I think people would go insane for a fighting game like that where like almost everybody or practically everybody is in this game. And then they update the anime, and then they're gonna create new characters and have those like have the new anime characters be a part of like the roster. I think they would sell well. My only concern would be how they balance the characters, because like for the most part they've done a good job, but I know it's gonna be very hard to like try to balance every single character if they're gonna make that big of a roster, which is the reason why I see it happening, but at the same time I see it not happening because it's just such a big a big move. But I think it'd be a good step in the right direction to like making Dragon Ball Fighters a bigger sensation. The other thing that I want in the game was that like from a casual standpoint, I was disappointed to not see that that like the other characters not be able to turn into different forms, and I wanted that in Dragon Ball Fighters 2, where we have you know where we have like variants of Goku that can turn into you know either the GT style or the Dragon Ball Super style, right? And then like work into stuff like that, because in that sense, right? In that sense, it would be like more interesting, more fun, because then we'd have like different move sets to to work along with, and then go into we go we go into like different kind of styles of fighting to see like what we can do with these characters, and then predict, okay, what are we going to do if this happens, and then bring back the Budokai sensation. Of course it's a long shot, and like there are parts that can mess up, but I think it could work out if done correctly. But that's just me personally. What do you think?
Well, I think okay. Just going off of the Maximum video, I do agree with him that if you do bring these characters, right,
Mm-hmm.
these characters that you already created, and you put them into a bigger game, like as that bigger game, just as an example of Dragon Ball Fighters 2, if that ever is a thing,
Mm-hmm.
like I think it will be like everybody's dream come true, like every Dragon Ball character's dream come true, because you have all these characters from the past, you have all these characters that you've been used to, and all these. But I think like with the way of how you said, like just from on my thinking is that when you have characters like and you have different variants of them, like I don't want to be to the point where you have like these characters who you can just change the skin, but then it will like let them transform. I think that's just kind of like a little bit kind of off, because if you have that, wouldn't for me it'll be like, wouldn't it get rid of like the character's original like potential? Because of course like you have like the fucking, oh, excuse me, but like you have Blue, you have Super Saiyan, and then you have like GT Goku. Like all of them are really different. But then if you have like the forms or like differently, where you have like what is it? Uh, if you combine them into one character to transform into that way, I think it's just gonna create like a little bit of complexity. But if that was to be a thing, then I think if they have like a Goku, like just an example, like just like something that I'm thinking of, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have like a Goku character that you selected in say in Dragon Ball Fighters 2,
Mm-hmm.
but you can use it like if there was a possibility of A assist, B assist, or C assist, like something like that, right? You can choose either those assists, but you can also choose like transformation type. Because if you do that, then you can just like not say like it will get rid of the whole character, but you'll have to change up your style of fighting midway, because you have the potential to transform. So I think that would be really cool. It'll be a cool concept, but it's just you have to transform that way. But there's, but I don't know how it would work completely. But it's just like something like just like hypothetically. But I think overall, if like I'm just thinking of like possibilities how Dragon Ball Fighters 2 would look, it will look probably, I'm pretty sure, amazing. Because if you compare Dragon Ball Fighters from season 1 to season 3, like it was a big gap, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest.
Yeah.
Like You have these characters that look pretty complex. You have the design of like, I'm pretty sure I remember like the key bars and everything. They looked a okay, mediocre. But then in season three, they updated like a bunch of changes to like the HUD, and it's just like wow, like this is amazing. Just imagine what they can do with Dragon Ball Fighters 2.